Hello, I'm Suzanne Smith, the winner of the bronze medal for a young adult novel in the 2014 Florida Book Awards is More Than Good Enough. This novel captures the life of a Florida teenager who is struggling to find his place in a variety of different worlds. Author Crissa-Jean Chappell joins us to talk about the character's exploration of his native roots, his first steps into adulthood, and how he feels about his family. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
How did this story originate for you?
Well, all my stories are set in South Florida, and I like to call it the real Florida because growing up climbing the oak trees in my family's backyard, we grew up near a nature preserve down south. I would watch TV and I would just look at the neon and the flamingos and think that isn't my home, that isn't something that I connect to. So I'm always looking for ways to share my personal view of what the real Florida looks like in all my books.
Now, how did you come up with the character of Trent Asiello? Did you know a lot about the Miccosukee culture in that area, or was this something that came together separately?
Well, I knew I wanted to write about that world, and so I approached a good friend of mine who used to be my student when I was teaching at the Art Institute. His name is Houston Cypress, and he represents the Otter Clan, or as he says, the Hodder Clan. And he was extremely kind and generous and just so open with me and sharing his world with me, and took me out on the reservation. We were on the airboats going to the Tree Islands. A lot of people don't know about how the fact that Everglades is not just, a swamp is how people see it, that we have islands you can get out, walk around, climb. We looked at the trees that his uncles used to climb when they were kids, and he shared that world with me. A lot of that day ended up being in the opening scene of the book, including the rescued baby gator whose name is Quasi in real life with the twisted back. So there's so much of that world that he generously shared with me, his friends and family. So this book would not exist without him.
While you were doing this research, is that where the creation of a character living in two different worlds came from?
Yes.
What is it that attracted you to that?
Well, I think every teenager is straddling the world of, being a child and merging into an adulthood, and what people tell you you should be versus what you are discovering and making your own decisions. This is how I think I should be. And this was the perfect world to, to explore those themes of young adulthood. And walking around the res, I remember seeing the boys with their Miami Heat t-shirts and their grills, and they were popping ollies in the skate park. They're really good too. You should see them, they're amazing. And I knew, I was like, I want to write that boy's story. Like, I want to tell his story, so.
Do you think that Trent Asiello, the main character, he's 17, classic struggle of a child growing up, and caught between adulthood and childhood. Do you think he feels that he is caught between childhood and adulthood, or is he only focusing on the other aspect of, is he Native American or is he white? Right.
I think oftentimes like I was saying, that you're told what you should be. You're told how you should feel and think and act when you're a young adult. You go to school, you sit in a desk, you listen to what your teacher is telling you all day. And I've been a professor for 10 years, so I feel like I empathize with my kids. Like, you don't want to sit in that desk and be talked to. You want to have a chance to share your own voice. And teaching creative writing and screenwriting for so many years, it's just like I feel like my kids have been teaching me, to see and listen to their voices. So that's how in the book, Trent has the opportunity to take a film class. It's not necessarily his idea. He thinks it's an easy A, but the film class gives him an opportunity to share, his world and to discover his Miccosukee family, which he really doesn't know anything about, and to learn about that world, not because of something that's being told to him, but from something he experiences and explores on his own.
You talked about thinking in the mind of a teenager and what they're going through and what they want. How do you do that? Do you talk to people that age to get their thoughts and ideas, or is it just something that you remember from your own teenage years, or is it a mixture of everything?
Well, I think I am secretly a teenager on the inside forever, and that's probably never going to go away. But I really do enjoy teaching and listening to the voices of my students and being around them and seeing their world, their fresh perspective of the world has definitely been an influence on my writing. I love teaching so much.
At the end of the book, do you feel that Trent has found his place, or do you think, I'm not giving anything away, found his place, or do you think he's just starting to find his place?
Oh, I do believe he's starting to find his place. In my classes, I always talk about Joseph Campbell. I'm a huge fan of his studies about the hero with 1,000 faces and the hero's journey and that character arc of going from being a child to an adult. And it's not like a complete journey until you reach the end of your life. You're continuing to, to explore who you are on the inside. And I think maybe that's why so many adults are drawn to reading young adult novels, is because that's something that they connect to, that they are interested in exploring as well.
What is it that draws you to the young adult genre?
Exactly that, and the fact that I love teenagers. I love their way of looking at the world. There's no BS with kids. They'll tell you what's up and they'll keep it real. So that's the world that I love.
Are you working on something right now?
I am, and actually I'll be working on a screenplay as well as working on my new novels in progress, because my second novel, Narc, was just recently optioned for film, and it will be a film that's produced in Miami with Miami crew, Miami director. It's with Filmgate, so I couldn't be more excited to have my Miami story in the hands of Miami filmmakers.
That sounds like that's going to be exciting.
I'm excited.
Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
The Florida Book Awards are presented annually to recognize, honor, and celebrate the best Florida literature. The program is coordinated by the Florida State University Libraries and co-sponsored by these groups that promote books by and for all Floridians.